Hi everyone, welcome back to the Bonsai Escape. Mike G here. Today I'm going to be covering how we trim our junipers from all this gorgeous spring growth. So stay tuned. This is a Horizontalis juniper, Juniper Horizontalis. It's a very nice bonsai. It has a very slender trunk right now that feeds up into the top. And I've done a lot of work on kind of positioning the secondary branches. You just can't see anything because of all this gorgeous spring growth. So the goal today is to get this trimmed down, start defining those pads that I want on here that I've been working on. And again, the spring growth has really blown up on this tree, but all the new growth is kind of hardened off now. Now's a great time to get in here and start thinning it out, getting some light into the interior here before any of this stuff dies off. And I'll work on this and I'll give you some updates as we move along. So what do you think about the little trimming? I went pretty excessive, and I wanted to share why I did this. This is a Juniper horizontal or horizontal juniper, and I've had it for 3 years. 3 years of learning how this tree worked, and as well as when I trimmed it, what happened. And I'll show you some foliage here. This foliage is very stringy and long. And initially I had a Horizontalis juniper, and one day I decided I'm just going to try it. I was trying to trim it, and it's really challenging to trim and get a tight, compact foliage because this is the new growth from this year. It's tight, compact. We can just clip the tip of it off, and it gives us kind of a nicer edge. there's a lot to clip off. But what happens is once that hardens off and becomes second year growth, it turns to this long stringy stuff. So what I did was I started just snipping it like this to get it into some sort of a fan shape. And I just wanted to see one year what would happen if I just snipped the tips of these off like this, like you're not supposed to do with a juniper. And interestingly, I waited expecting to see all brown tips at the end. And because the diameter of this foliage is so small, it could barely see any brown tips. So I thought, okay, well, that makes it a lot easier to trim this tree because it grows, as you saw earlier, crazy. For years, I've been looking at this tree and just not happy with it. One of the reasons is because it's how small the trunk is. It's very skinny, has great movement, and so I figured I'd let it grow for 3 years and just see where it was going to go. I was really contemplating this decision that I made on this over the last couple of months, watching this tree grow, and as I got into it deeper, I decided I'm just going to go for it. It definitely changes the characteristics of this tree. These pads will fill out nicely, and it'll give it that nice literati style that I was kind of looking at, inspired by. I'll probably shorten this deadwood piece over here, as long as the whole thing doesn't turn into deadwood. I don't think it will. It's a very strong, vigorous tree. It always has been, and I've trimmed it pretty excessively in the past. Maybe not this much, but I was leaving the idea of this top piece to grow and thicken, but you know what? I figured I'm just going to start it now. I don't think junipers grow so slowly, and to thicken like I'd want it, it just isn't going to, it's going to be too long. So I figured I'd just go for it and cut the top off and just go this direction with it. And we'll see how this develops over the next few years. So that was my rationale behind trimming the juniper to this extent. I always kind of had that vision in my head with what this tree was going to give me. My next step next spring, as long as the tree lives, is to repot this, because it's been in the same pot, this large pot, for 3-ish years or so. Probably in that angle. I'm looking at this pot. It's a smaller pot. Let's see if I can get it. It's a smaller pot. It'll complement the height of the tree with the base that I have here, and I think it's going to be pretty good. Let me just tilt it better. Maybe we can get a better view of it. Kind of tilted like that, and this pot, let's see if I can, flat. So anyway, you'll get the idea. But this was a goal, get it into this little drum pot, start reducing this mass of roots, since it doesn't have to support as much foliage now. And I think we're on the right track. I hope you enjoyed this. Subscribe if you did, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.